Hi, I'm Gary Owen.
And I'm Brynn Cummings. And
welcome to Ventriloquist University.
Okay, I'm Bob Rumba still. I didn't change anything since you saw me last. Okay, I know Gary for, I don't know, for a long time now.
Been a lot of years.
A lot of years. Did you, because I know you did radio for quite a while. Mm-hmm. Which one did you do first? Did you do radio or ventriloquism?
I actually started them about the same time. I was a young teenager in high school, had a break. I was always fascinated with both arts as a kid. Yeah. And I was blessed with this radio voice and got into radio my senior year of high school. My very first ventriloquist show, I was entertaining the junior-senior banquet. And so kind of started both careers at the same time.
Now, did you ever do the thing where, which some ventriloquists do, some people that aren't ventriloquists even call it a puppet, where they have another character with them on the air, on the radio, and they talk back and forth, but they do both voices.
I never was the ventriloquist on the radio. My radio career, my stage career were separate.
Oh, see, that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. But when you're on the radio, you say, oh, and if you want to see me, I'll be playing at such and such?
Once in a while, yes. Mm-hmm. Sure. Self-promotion was always good, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I remember when I met you, you were way before people thought about singing ventriloquists. You were doing that.
That's right.
Because you were doing country western.
I was doing country. I had a character named Rhapsody Cowboy. But I remember the first time I was seen at the ventriloquist convention, I actually had a black character. And because I did comedy clubs and things like that.
Right.
But Rhapsody Cowboy actually got at the ventriloquist convention. It was a Verna puppet. And the name came when I had lots of people saying, oh, you need to call him Rhinestone Cowboy, because that was when Glenn Campbell was still hot and Rhinestone Cowboy was a hit song. Right. You need to call him Rhinestone. I said, no. How I came up with the name of the Rhapsody Cowboy is he had blue neckerchief, and he had blue in his suit. And I just came up with a Rhapsody in blue in my head. And I thought, Rhapsody Cowboy. And that's how it happened.
Then... Were you doing comedy clubs and singing too? Or
mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, that would be a big deal. Because it breaks up all when you're on a comedy show and you're in a comedy club.
Right.
Anytime you do anything that's other than stand up, you're like a big deal.
Yes. But country music, I was a musician. I played drums, played a little steel guitar, but I also sang a lot of country music. So that really all just kind of came together. And I was an MC for a show in Oklahoma called the Oklahoma Opry, which was a takeoff of the Grand Ole Opry, but it was featuring Oklahoma talent. I MC'd that show every Saturday night for 10 years, and that's really how I developed and honed my act over the years. That launched me into doing Branson and cruise ships and those kinds of things. So that was really a great way to pull all of my skills together, develop new characters, develop new techniques, and so forth.
And then you became friends with other ventriloquists from Branson.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that's a whole other thing, too.
Yes. So people like Patty Davidson, Todd Oliver, those kind of people that made their career living, Jim Barber. That's how I got to meet a lot of those people, because they lived and worked in Branson as well. So
right. Yeah. And when you worked in Branson, because I did it too.
And you got an opportunity to work there, so you know that.
So it's like, you see all these ventriloquists, and you can see them almost whenever you want.
That's right. That's right.
And if you want to see an Elvis impersonator, all you have to do is go to the drugstore, and there's one in there.
That's right.
I mean, there's people are just there.
Now, a lot of people don't know this. For those who know Patty Davidson, she was actually the first ventriloquist to ever work Branson.
Oh.
And she got our big start with Boxcar Willie. People know that name. And she worked at the Hee Haw Theater, because Hee Haw was big back then. And she worked with the Roy Clark Theater. She worked with Mickey Gilley. So she got to work with a lot of great
selectors. But she was a miss also.
Yes, she was. Because she grew up in Kansas.
Yes.
So she was in beauty pageants. And she raised 5 children doing her shows in Branson.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, so you became, let's see, you went from being a kid ventriloquist into radio, and then they sort of sync together, and then you're still doing shows. Then you still do radio things, but you're sort of dropped out of radio.
I'm out of
a little
broadcasting. Yeah, I've got out of broadcasting a number of years ago. Still do a lot of voiceover work, of course. But I was performing more, and then I launched into stage hypnosis. A lot of people don't know that, but I launched into stage hypnosis, which I found fascinating. And I actually was doing more stage hypnosis than I was ventriloquism. And of course, I've always been a mentor at the ventriloquist conventions.
Yes.
Always did lectures and workshops and those kinds of things. So, and my passion is mentoring, always has been.
Right.
Both in broadcast as well as in ventriloquism. That's just one of those things, you find a connection and you find that the reward is watching talent respond to it, watching talent grow from it. And so that really kind of, the convention, I think, was kind of my launching pad in the larger group. I think that's where I started getting some recognition about helping young people.
Well, your real thing is that you get to take what you already know.
That's right.
From performing yourself.
That's right.
And then bringing it into back to other people.
Right.
To guide them to go the right direction. Yeah. And so you mentored Darcy Lynn, of course.
Yes. So another side of my career is a producer-director in production, television as well as theatrics. And having been on the corporate circuit and understanding lighting, set design, video production, all of those skills I had throughout my broadcast career, my television career, and all those kinds of things all came to fruition. Having worked on cruise ships, having worked corporate, you're involved in a lot of that kind of production and technical. So I gained all of that knowledge and experience over the years. Little did I know at the time that I was being groomed for Darcy Lynn. And that is a whole new story how Darcy happened. I actually approached Darcy's family. They did not approach me. And little did I know that at the time that this stardom was on the horizon. That was when I approached her family about mentoring her. She lived in Oklahoma City. She lived 10 minutes from my house. Didn't know any of this. I found out about her through some members of my church that where Darcy had in the story, you know the story if you've watched Darcy's history, where she went and auditioned after only doing vent, self-taught for a month, goes and does this Edmond Got Talent, which is a suburb of Oklahoma City, and she won the competition after only doing this a month and yodeling without moving her mouth. Well, these people at my church happened to see that competition. They told me about this. Oh, you see this little girl, she's 10 years old, she's self-taught, and she yodels without moving her mouth. And I'm like, what? Because, I've been exposed to a lot of kids at the convention, and I go home, and sure enough, on Facebook, her mother posted this video, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have got to mentor this child. She was incredible. The other thing that I saw in Darcy is she had this little, for those of you familiar with the artists back in the old days, she had this Ronnie Howard, Shirley Temple Kid magic about her. There was just something different. And so I went through the Edmond Arts Council, gave my phone number, and many people know my voice in the marketplace, but Darcy's parents didn't know who I was. So they checked me out and found out I was legit. Yeah. Called me 2 weeks later, we have a meeting, and so the rest is history.
Right.
And then I became her tour producer.
Right.
And it's just been a great ride. So
then after her, you got who?
So the next person I got was Celia Munoz. Celia found out about me.
No, you got to tell
Celia Munoz. Celia Munoz won Got Talent Spain. That's what they call it over there, Got Talent Spain. So Celia, she had never been a ventriloquist, and of course she was familiar with Senor Wences, and she saw Darcy doing opera with Petunia. Now Celia is a professional opera singer in her 30s. She saw this kid doing opera without moving her mouth with Petunia, and she's like, I could do that if I could learn. And so she found me through the Darcy channels. And she emailed me and said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. Would you coach me? So we had a meeting. And again, another talent. Got Talent was not on the horizon. She just wanted to learn ventriloquism. So we started working. And after 8 months, 10 months, she decides to audition for Got Talent Spain. The rest is history. Then America's Got Talent invited her over to participate in America's Got Talent, and she made it to the finals. She didn't win, but she made it to the finals, and she was in the final four, I believe. Yeah. And after that, they asked her to appear in the America's Got Talent variety show in Las Vegas. So she did that in 2023, and then she went home. So So that's how that culminated. Then, almost in the same time I was coaching Celia, I got a contact from Anna Maria Marjan, who is Romania's Got Talent. So Anna had already gotten the golden buzzer.
Yes.
But they were looking for someone to coach her to help her try to win.
Okay.
So that contact came through our good friend Steve Axtell.
Who is that? They were looking. Who is
Her parents.
Okay.
Her parents. So Anna's parents and Anna, they were looking for a puppet, so they contacted Steve Axtell. They bought this puppet, and during the conversation, she had already won this golden buzzer opportunity, and so they wanted a coach to help her get to the win. Okay. So Steve told them about me and that I was Darcy's coach. And so they contacted me, and I helped her win Romania's Got Talent. And I'm doing all this online through Zoom.
That's pretty amazing.
Yes. Yep. So then my next Got Talent was Brynn Cummings. And I had been coaching Brynn a couple of years. America's Got Talent contacts me and said, hey, we don't have any ventriloquist entries. Who have you got that we could possibly get into the competition? And I recommended Brynn, and the rest is history.
Did she contact you, or her parents contact
Her parents contacted me about coaching her long before that ever happened. I think it was a couple of years.
Yeah.
And where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm from Paw Paw, Michigan.
Oh yeah, you're close to
They're close to Owen, Michigan.
Alicia DeCoba is from Paw Paw, Michigan.
Now the interesting thing about Brynn is that she had already done a lot of stage experience. And there's a combination that on all of these people that I've worked with, they weren't, except for Celia as far as ventriloquism, but all of them had been performing on stage for quite a while. They'd had lots of stage experience. So all I had to do was take the ventriloquism part of their art form and then repackage, and I call it a package, where I take the whole talent and restructure that to bring them to the next level. And that is everything from the basic fundamentals of what they've learned in ventriloquism and fine-tune that, to the stage presence, to material, everything that you'd want. And that's what gets them to this next level, to get them to where America's Got Talent type shows look at them and go, wow.
Yes.
The other thing about the four is they all had uniqueness in what they did. Darcy was a child singing ventriloquist. Celia was a professional opera singer doing ventriloquism without puppets.
Right.
And doing all these sounds and polyphony and so forth without moving her mouth. And then here's Anna, who again is a child performer, but in Romania, they'd never seen anything like that before. And that's what got her the honors. And then Brynn coming aboard with America's Got Talent, and what she brought to the table, here's a ventriloquist doing mentalism and magic never seen before. And again, she's a child.
So they're the same, but they're all different.
Exactly. And so my coaching is taking all of these people who have already unique talents and gifts and just fine-tuning and molding them to where they are now.
Also, Gary is able to make sure that everybody's safe. Like, I always wondered, I think I even called you before it happens, like I said, when Darcy Lynn was starting to get there, and I said, you got to make sure nothing happens there. Like, nobody, you get in with the wrong crowd or the wrong people and all that kind of stuff, and then a child ends up who knows where.
Well,
Gary makes sure that doesn't happen.
Being in the entertainment industry behind the scenes, I've learned a lot about agents, managers, contracting.
Right.
So I understand all the fundamentals about that. And I've had a lot of relationships behind the scenes. So naturally, particularly when it comes to young people, I am very protective, like a grandpa kind of figure, but more as their coach. And the relationships I have with all of my students, adults and kids, is it's a very family type of attitude, because the investment I put into the coaching, any coach, even if it's an athletic coach, like in the Olympics, you bond and you have this long-term relationship. So naturally you become family, and there's a trust factor there. And when parents of children see the growth and they see the successes, they become believers. They realize that that I see what I see in them, they don't see sometimes. And so I know how to pull that out of them. And all of a sudden the parents are like, oh my gosh, what an amazing turnaround. And it usually happens pretty fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's sort of there already. You just bring it out.
Exactly.
So where were you before you met Gary?
Before I met Gary, I wasn't an amazing ventriloquist. I mean, my mouth form and my pronunciation on letters were different. Like, I remember my first lesson with Gary. I was in my living room. I remember the first thing we did. We went through the ventriloquist alphabet. We went through every letter, and I mean, even just after the first day, I was already like 10% better, just because we worked on an alphabet.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just crazy to me how, like, it can be such a little thing that can make such a big impact on a performer's life.
Right.
Yeah.
Something that I always tell people when they ask me about my style of coaching and the technique that I teach, because I have a unique technique about lip control that I don't think anybody else is teaching or has taught over the years. The hardest thing about learning lip control is trying to do it, show me what you're doing in the mouth. So I have a technique that I show to my students, and when they learn it, it's like, because they can visually see it. And so I just tell people, look at Darcy, look at Celia, look at Anna, and look at Brynn. And you'll see one thing in common in their lip control. You don't see lip quiver. You don't see jaw movement. It's all like, and when they sing, which is very difficult, you watch Terry Fader. It's very difficult when he's doing impersonations. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here.
Yeah.
You never see anything moving in here. And there's a technique that I teach or coach that is a fine tune. And when people get it, it's like, wow, how did you figure that out? So
you figured it out for yourself first. See?
Yes. But there's a psychological part of what goes on in this lip control that people don't realize because they think it's all physical, but the part of it is mental and part of it is audible. And so when you, over the years, Bob, you've seen and heard ventriloquists where they've got good lip control, but you can't understand the words sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what I do is I perfect the dialogue. I perfect the vocal tones. Like voice separation is another thing. A lot of ventriloquists struggle with the voice variation. So one of the things that I teach is audible. I think having been in broadcasting, doing voiceover work and doing character voices as an actor, like what you do, is there's a distinction about listen, and then repeat that. That's how Terry Fader and other impersonators have developed those character voices. You have to really study it and get it in your head so that when you turn it around and break it vocal, it comes out of your mouth the same way. I've taught her how to do character voices. That's kind of how we have learned, right? Through audibility. So,
all right. I'm going to ask you a personal question now. Do you have braces? Do you have braces when you first started?
Not when I first started, no.
So what's it like to have braces into it?
It was a whole turn. I didn't, from the last few lessons I've had with Gary and I've had braces.
Yes.
I mean, I was scared from the beginning. I'm like, what's going to happen if I'm going to lose my lip control? And one thing I have figured out is I have a little quiver on my side. But like you said, it's like a mental thing. So the past 2 weeks probably, I've been in the mirror every day. And I've been watching my lips. I'm like, they're not moving. Like, I have to make them.
But sometimes even when people get braces, there's a sibilance that happens because of how your air comes in and out.
Yeah.
So you get this extra sort of talking like that. Yeah. And that's just regular speech. Mm-hmm. As a ventriloquist, it's going to, you know what I mean? It's going to be there too.
Mm-hmm. But she has overcome those obstacles based on the technique that I teach. So, yeah. It's really helped you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Can we go with... Let's do some voices here. Can we do that?
Sure.
Okay, so can you do one, then have her do one? Can we?
Sure.
Since we're both here.
Sure.
Sure.
Are you going to do a voice?
Me? If you want, I'll do one.
So are we doing a scenario here?
No, just do like a one-line thing. Just do a voice so they can hear. Because if people are watching this for Ventriloquist University, a lot of people are watching this for the first time. Or some people don't know you and they're learning about you. So it sort of gives them a taste of what you can do where you're placing things and where it's coming from.
Well, I have a voice that even in singing, they hear this more baritone tone in my voice, so they think that that's where I really hit. The register is here. But I can actually get way up here, and I can get way up here. And I can get back here, and I can get in here. So when I change voices like that, I don't just do one. I can show that with voice.
Right.
Depending on your abilities, you have to learn. And again, it's audible. You have to hear those voices in your head to be able to duplicate them. So, and it's like when I kick into dialects, the same thing. You know, you can talk. I can talk like this. I'll sit here, Bob, all day long and talk to you like this, or I can just change the tone. I can talk down here, same style of talking, but I can even get up here. You know what I'm saying? So I can get in there and talk. It doesn't matter what kind of dialect I'm doing, or how heavy I want to get to it. I can just change it just like that. You know.
Yeah.
So what I do is I teach people how to make your voice work. Now, doing impersonations is a lot harder because you're actually emulating or imitating a celebrity voice. And so that's really difficult. That's something.
But as a ventriloquist, you can use one of those voices and you don't have to have it exactly the same. And
That's
you can
right.
use it for another character.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's sort of like a springboard.
Exactly. But I always, when I'm coaching people, I tell them to perfect the voice open mouth first. Because they're actually learning with the mouth and with the ear how to perfect the tone. Because then, once you master that, doing the lip control is the easy part. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, now that you've done like out of one voice, you just did like over a dozen. So let's let her do.
Watch her do the same thing.
Yeah, so she's not just like a statue sitting in on this.
No.
I would say, yeah, my voice hasn't matured it hasn't really matured yet. So I tend to go more high voices. I tend to like to go more in the nasal cavity, a little more just like up here. Sometimes I add a little southern accent to it, make it a little lower, kind of make it like a little southern belle. But I mean, once you get the hang of it, it's really fun doing different voices. I really like it. I think it's fun.
Do another one.
Another one? I'll say, I can kind of go low, but not really that low because
it's still lower.
It's lower, yes, but not super low.
Do you use that for anything?
I use that for 2 characters, yes.
So can you do one like one line like that?
One line. I actually hold 2 records in the Guinness Book of World Records.
See, I like that because it's so different than what you normally do. All right, now I'm going to take you to another place that you do that you probably passed on to her, which is your polyphony, and that a lot of that stuff has to do with breath control, because when you sing you have to have breath control. So he already has that from singing. So then he takes that and he puts it into his polyphony to make different sounds, and then you can talk with those sounds. So you can talk with.
So
whatever.
when I started doing sound impersonations on stage, my character did animal sounds and I did machinery. So I did anything that had a motor and engine, like planes, trains, cars, washing machines, motorcycles, boats. I did all the machinery kind of sounds, and the puppet did all the animals. So in ventriloquism, when I'm doing it, like a dog bark,
Now where's your air going? Out?
my air is going out and
Right.
sometimes in.
Which do it in one. Do you do a dog like that though? Yeah.
So it depends, and I'm pulling in all of those tones.
Right. Because I always did. If I did out, I couldn't. I think I do better in with the air going.
I think it depends on the tone, what you're trying to grab.
Well, higher dog. You're doing a lower dog. The lower dog almost should be out, probably.
Right.
But
right.
in is like.
Right,
like real
right, because you can get that raspy, which is very good. Yeah, you get that raspy kind of scratchy sound.
Right.
Because you have to pull the vocal cords in because the cords are basically pulling in instead of going out.
Then you can talk like that. How are you doing?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Then do you do any of those?
I've never tried any of those, so I don't know.
Want to try one on camera?
I don't know. I'd say just like what you guys are
You
doing.
a dog?
Trying to think of like
What sound?
how to do it.
What sound do you do?
See, I don't really do. I do voices. I don't do.
So you want to witness a coaching tip?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me show you how it would work. Think of a cat.
Okay.
How does a cat sound? Okay, now try to do that without moving your lip. Right? Now put an end to it, like a meow instead of a meow. How would you do it as a meow as a word?
Yeah.
Bingo. Now try it a little more.
Yeah.
Good. You just did a cat.
Now do it and where you're placing that voice, do it and talk like that.
We're
From
talking.
that place, wherever you're placing it, use that place where you made the meow sound and then talk like that.
I guess it would be something kind of like this.
Yeah.
Very good.
But that's a whole new voice, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's, you don't do that voice.
No.
There you go.
There you go. But so when we're talking about learning to do voices, this was a really quick example of how easy
Yes.
it is, how easy it is to do. I tell people, just play with your voice. Just try different sounds, try different voices, emulate. If you see cartoons or you hear something on the radio that's like goofy or does sounds out of the norm, try to emulate it. Just repeat it and let your ear be that guide and try to imitate it and then experiment with your own voice. Like if you don't sing, just try doing things, just being goofy.
Yeah. Like,
Let your little kid come out to play.
I always talk about, like when you watch cartoons and you see George Jetson's boss, Mr. Spacely, and you take Mr. Spacely's voice and then you add a twang to it, that becomes Yosemite Sam. It's the same.
That's true. That's
It's the
really
same
good.
thing.
Yes, exactly the same thing. Yes.
So that's kind of what you're going into without even doing, and you can do it. And I have told people that too. If you could do one other voice besides yours, you can actually probably do like 6 different voices because of taking that one voice and making it into different, an accent or just doing highs and lows even.
A few years ago, I did a lecture at the Ventriloquist Convention with people out of the audience. They said, well, I can only do one voice. And I had 3 or 4 people come up on stage, and just what I just demonstrated here, I did on stage, and showed these individuals how they could get to another level. And it blew the audience away, just showing them what we just demonstrated with Brynn, how easy it is, because they don't hear it in their head. They only hear the 2 tones, where you and I, we do voices a lot. We can hear those tones in our head. And so we work and to project those tones just by experimentation. People think that I only have this one speaking voice. And many children are this way. They think they only have 1 or 2 pitch levels or vocal styles that they can do. But by teaching them to play, experiment, don't be afraid of it, don't hurt your voice. And we've gone through this where the low voice is uncomfortable for her because her voice is still in development. So she's trying to make sure, and she's a singer, and she has a good voice coach, so she's learning what her limitations are in those registers.
That's really interesting that you said that, because as you have her right now, and then when she gets to be older and her voice changes and she doesn't have control of that, like it just does.
That's right.
What do you do then, Gary?
I work within whatever their limitations are.
Okay.
I work with whatever the restrictions of the voice is capable of.
Okay, we hit this stuff just slightly a little bit right now. So what we're going to do is Gary also teaches, besides after you've gone past all that as a ventriloquist, now you have to learn manipulation of the puppet, and Gary does that. So we're going to take a break, and you could learn a little bit more about Ventriloquist University and what's happening with it. And then we'll come back, and then we'll do some puppets.